Tomorrow is once again International Holocaust Remembrance Day.
This year's Remembrance Day comes in the midst of a deadly war with Israel and Hamas. And Western Mass News reporter Matt Price shares with us the importance of this commemoration from Springfield.
January 27th may be like any other day on the calendar, but for many, like Amherst resident and Holocaust survivor Henny Lewin, it is more than that.
My two uncles, aunt, two young cousins, grandparents, the whole family perished.
Lewin's parents and one of her cousins miraculously survived, while Lewin was put in a suitcase and smuggled out of a ghetto in Lithuania. Since 2005, the world has known this day as International Holocaust Remembrance Day, recognizing the 6 million Jews and countless others who perished during one of the worst genocides in history. Saturday also marks 79 years since the Auschwitz concentration camp was liberated. Lewin tells Western Mass News this year's commemoration has more meaning, with anti-Semitism on the rise 3.5 months since Hamas's brutal terror attacks on Israel and its civilians.
My only cousin who survived with me, she and her family live in Israel. So you can imagine how I worry about her, her family, her grandchildren who needed to serve in the army and now they're reservists. So many people are afraid to walk into a synagogue or any Jewish institution in case something will happen. I mean, this is crazy.
We also spoke with Bobby Neymark from the Jewish Federation of Western Mass. He says this day can be a good opportunity for many to get an understanding of the Holocaust, as well as come together and fight all hate.
Education is paramount to bringing awareness of not only anti-Semitism, but also the corresponding Islamophobia that we are seeing throughout this country. And we're not immune to it in Western Massachusetts.
Neymark also points out the dangers of making false comparisons to the Holocaust during this difficult time.
There's been a lot of analogies of the Holocaust because they inevitably minimize what the Shoah was about, and because it's disrespectful to the 6 million Jews who were murdered during that time.
Lewin plans to continue what she has been doing for years, talking to young people about the horrors she went through and educating about the Holocaust altogether. She says learning can extinguish not just Jew hate, but all acts of bigotry.
Every single human being is valuable. We were all created in that same image. Doesn't matter what the color of the skin is, doesn't matter what the religion is.
The global Jewish community and the state of Israel will observe their Holocaust Remembrance Day, known as Yom HaShoah, in early May. For now, the message to the public is to combat all acts of anti-Semitism so atrocities like the Holocaust never happen again. In Springfield, Matt Price, Western Mass News.
And if you'd like to find out how to combat anti-Semitism as well as report any anti-Semitic incidents or threats, you can visit our website, westernmassnews.com, or our app and click the As Seen on TV button.